That's been my response, my go-to response.
By the parasites.
We'll fix up the bugs as we need to. Less content in the weeklies. Just work on bigger updates. I really think it's that simple.
But don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
Oh yeah, we're cooked, guys.
I can't move.
Agamatsu started as a player, became content creator, and now developer for one of the biggest roguelikes on Roblox, Deepwoken. I was fortunate enough to debate him on call about the game's problems, dev team issues, and the many bugs that still aren't fixed. His response? We don't know. And what I'm trying to say...
What if we want to be mysterious like Cardi, you know?
But you're not Cardi, bro. In this video, I'll show you the full debate and expose what Agamatsu, the dev team, and mod team want to keep confidential. Deepwoken has been the peak of roguelikes on Roblox for the longest time, set the standard for games of its style. Other games get called deep killers because of how influential Deepwoken was and is. It's generally one of the best Roblox games ever made. But that's the end of the glaze. Over the past few months, the player count has been actively declining, causing outrage in the Deepwoken community. I tried to solve this by talking to the biggest voice in the community, Agamatsu. But here's where things went completely wrong. Before I could even get on call, I waited 3 hours, got picked last on purpose, even though my friend went on stage and tons of people were asking me to get on. But even when I went on, he didn't take me seriously at the start.
We are Cardi, though. Let me become Cardi.
The friend that did get picked on the stage was hiding behind my name, talking about some actual bullshit. Look, maybe he was joking in that clip, but why are we joking when the player count is literally 1/10 of what it was just months ago? It's rude as hell when I'm being completely genuine. And it wasn't just me. He acted like this throughout the entire stream. The whole point of these streams should be taking advice and suggestions from the player base. Instead, he sits there and listens only to respond, not to act on criticism. But there are times where he defends Deepwoken like it's not the absolute buggy mess it is today. How do you break Chaser, Trial of One, Trun of Order, and Ferryman all in an update trying to fix something that's supposed to be about movement?
With the weekly system itself, two things. A, there's been buggy updates coming in the weekly and a string of updates that are also generally unpopular and things that also make the game unplayable in terms of bugs. Yeah, it's probably gonna fuck the player count, bro. But when it comes to the weekly system itself, in my opinion, it's all about what is actually thrown in there, and something like the movement update should not have been thrown in the weekly. That should be saved for a big update.
They're not working.
Buggy, though.
So I'm not.
But
they're
the
buggy.
reason they're not
buggy
working,
weeklies.
in my opinion, the reason they're not working because they're bad weeklies. If they're good weeklies, there's no issues. There's no complaints.
I'm gonna be honest here. You can only mess up a game this badly when there's no passion left. I'm holding Deepwoken to the standard it had back in 2022. That was over 3 years ago. The update quality was so much higher back then. We've been waiting on Layer 3 for 3 years. I have 3 concrete ideas for how this game should change. Idea 1, let the actual player base test updates. It doesn't have to be big content and a PvP luminant that we test, but the basic things that you guys are messing up, i.e. movement and boat systems. Why not let the player base test things that will definitely be controversial? Idea 2, stop weekly updates. Focus on major releases. Like I say in the video, this is not me attacking the weekly system, but rather me pointing out the visible flaws. In this case, over the past couple of years, we haven't received something besides new dungeons on the same caliber as Layer 2. And I do think that doing weekly patches and bug fixes with extra content, emphasis on extra, is good. But if you must reduce the content in weeklies on the condition that you inform us that you're working on something big, then why not? Who wouldn't want a release date for the Central Luminant? Who wouldn't want a release date for Layer 3? Idea 3, bundle system changes into polished updates. This makes sense regarding the movement patches that were forced into these past weeklies and bi-weeklies. Instead of pushing it all into one, why not separate it, giving more time for the testers to criticize and the respective development team to act on criticism? Before I end this segment, keep in mind, even Agamatsu agreed we should have had Layer 3 by now. At the end of the day, we don't know if Deepwoken can get safe today, tomorrow, or next year. All we know is they can make changes now. It's up to us as a community to push that change to the developers. I had the pleasure of speaking to two of the most active YouTubers in the Deepwoken community, the Depth Savior himself and Lil B. Those two people being Zacho and B8No. I want to express and extend my thanks because they really did not have to hop on call with me, especially for the time that they did. I appreciate it. Because I'm a bit new to creating this type of content, I wasn't able to capture the audio because the file corrupted. I do want to go through the points they said because it's important to get perspective from people that are creating content for you and me. This is what Zacho said. The game is dying, and the devs got to do better to save Deepwoken. I think that the current state of the game is a buggy mess, and I literally cannot play the game because of how buggy the depths is. Imagine I get hit with a true combo in the depths after progging for 13 hours in the video. What am I supposed to do? Sometimes they just start running away for 15 minutes because of the bird builds. Nobody wants to watch that. I love Agamatsu. I love Archmage. We gotta appreciate what they have done and what they're trying to do. We may think that the game is dying now, but just like before, it comes back stronger. The potential that this game has is so much, we can't give up on it. I do see what you mean by transparency by the devs, but I think that they are passionate and we're gonna get good things. I love Chime, I love Deep, enjoy the game. Me personally, I sided a little bit more with Zacho's point of view, but this is just how I interpreted their points. I'm sorry I couldn't capture the actual recordings of what they were trying to say. But we can all agree we need more transparency from the devs because there needs to be incentive to play the game. When are the big things going to happen? What are the big things going to happen? Another game I want to use as an example is Deepwoken Modded. I'm not saying that this is the most polished or well-made game of all time, but it shows that the devs with the funding that they have could be doing a lot more. Even in regards to gameplay and fighting, it feels fluid, and this is made by one person. You guys have been farming revenue for years off Deepwoken, whether it be premium payouts or the 400 Robux price tag. There's no way you're slower than a single person. Again, thank you to B8No and Zacho. I really appreciate and I'm grateful for the conversations. Also, while making the script, Crimson Kato made a video about my TikToks. If attention is being spread, even a depth skanker gets my respect. This section of the video is relatively serious. If you are sensitive to this content, then this part is not for you. If some of you don't know, the Deepwoken moderators must be 18 plus to be on the mod team. And if you also didn't know, they have been through their fair share of controversy. Considering these moderators are in positions of power, it's important to emphasize that they can't be biased. Not to undermine other things, but especially regarding minor safety on Roblox, a predominantly children-occupied platform. In this segment, I'm not going to go ahead and talk about how some of them have spoken to minors in an inappropriate way. I'm not well versed and I could misspeak. I'm also not going to generalize the mod team as if to say they are all a certain way. But when mod points and Roblox payouts are involved, there comes malpractice. Me personally, I was banned for specifically calling out someone named Skoonez. He was talking sexually and explicitly to a minor, and he decided to blame not just his porn addiction, but also Deepwoken itself. He's a blatantly deplorable person that deserves no merit. And for the longest time, he stayed unbanned from the Deepwoken server and game. At some point, this information about Skoonez is brought to my attention, and me saying Skoonez is a pedo, or doubling down and saying Skoonez is not just a pedo, he's a super pedo, definitely does not warrant a permanent ban on my end. I'm not going to sit here and feign ignorance. Making accusations against someone isn't going to solve the issue. But these moderators have the chance to do so, and they decided not to. Instead, when people find out how bad they're handling and doing their job, they try and cover up. For this segment, I interviewed victims of death threats and sexual harassment, the issue further developing from Discord to affecting someone's life. I will emphasize again, just because I use an example of the moderators mishandling a situation does not mean that all the moderators do the same thing on the daily. More so that there's an issue in the system and there's lack of incentive to take fair and active charge, especially with a game of this scale. The victim in this case has decided to go anonymous, but if you do know who the person is, I would appreciate if you held off on saying their name, and if you have something to say to them, please say it in private. In the case of the victim, they not only experience things firsthand, but know more people that have experienced blackmail. This blackmail being used to get people to do and send explicit things online, specifically Discord. I'm not going to complain about racism and homophobia, etc. It's a game full of teenagers. Sadly, I expect nothing less. But this excuse of age is lost, especially when you're over the age of 18 and you're doing something non-consensually to harm someone else's life. Threatening to rape someone and saying statements like, "I'm gonna groom you," is never okay under any circumstances, not even as a joke. But these people are not joking and real lives are taking effect. Telling someone to, quote, cut deeper and manipulating people to obtain sensitive and private information is not okay. On top of that, undermining someone's mental state post-blackmail and trying to make them seem crazy isn't just a game anymore. Here's where the mod team comes in. You can't just ignore these types of things. Punishment can't be delayed or postponed for reasons like not enough evidence when a significant amount of evidence is provided. This makes the entirety of the mod team look bad, and I'm not blaming the mods, but please update your system to account for the victims to strive to find proof and evidence to rid these types of people from the platform, and make some of this publicly known. The mod team doesn't necessarily have the best rep. Again, to the victims, I'm sorry you had to experience this, and to the mod team, we're not asking you to smite them, but do what is within your power because you've been trusted to do so. This video is not meant to attack the dev team, the mod team, or Agamatsu. We gotta save Deepwoken. It's not a case of trying to belittle the efforts that the dev team are making, or the moderators are making, but it's to raise awareness to the fact that they can do more. With the dev team, it's to save the game, have transparency, be clear with us what's going on. With the moderators, it's to protect victims. You could be trying your best, but if the system doesn't work, then it needs to be updated. At the end of the day, we all love Deepwoken. It'd be sad to see the game die due to lack of communication and bugs. This video is undoubtedly going to be controversial, so your comments are welcome. And if you agree with me, spread the word. Hashtag save Deepwoken. I want to say thank you to Sweet Beans for the thumbnail, Taste of Rage for the editing. I know you said you don't want to hear my voice for a couple of days. Creamy, Coca, Zone for the advice. I really appreciate it. And Zachko and BNO, thank you for getting on call with me. I am literally a random in the Deepwoken community. You really didn't have to. I really appreciate it. And that's it. See you guys.